Hello and welcome to Kingston Now. I'm Jimmy Buff. This week we'll explore the world of social media and how it can help your business with Rick Dragon of Dragon Search. We'll introduce you to the folks from the Center for Creative Learning, and we'll start with a very cool project coming to Kingston called ArtBridge. With us now is ArtBridge President Rodney Durso and Regional Projects Coordinator Raleigh Green. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Rodney, you started ArtBridge. Tell me about its origins.
Yeah. So in 2008, when there was a bit of an economic downturn in New York City, there was a lot of scaffolding around buildings in Chelsea and really throughout the whole city. In my building in particular, lots of scaffolding. It was up for about 2 years. And I used to look up at that scaffolding and think, what a great canvas this would be for something. I didn't quite know what it was. At the time, I was also starting to paint myself. I'm a bit of an artist. And I thought, well, this could be a great opportunity for artists like myself to possibly have their art somehow up on the scaffolding. That was the kind of the beginnings of the idea. I approached my building managers and I said, I have this idea. And they said, all right, if you can figure it out, we'll give you a few $1,000s. And that's kind of how it started. And our first two shows were on West 23rd Street. Each one was about 400 feet long. Each show had about 26 different artists, all up-and-coming artists. So that was kind of the beginnings of it.
Getting permission to display stuff in New York City on buildings seems challenging. I mean, for instance, you're not allowed to put up posters, even though everywhere you go at a construction sites, they're always covered with those small posters. So how did you get permission from the city? Did you need it?
Well, you know, it's no longer legal. You used to be able to do advertising on this area, but you're no longer allowed to do that. So the city was sort of looking at us going, well, it's not exactly by the letter of the law, it's not exactly legal, but they like that as a not-for-profit and giving opportunity to emerging artists. They thought there was a bit of a gray area, so they kind of allow us to do it. And in fact, they like the program and the idea so much, they have their own version of the program. But ours is a little bit more unique. So when it comes down to it, they're okay with what we do. They appreciate what we do.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Raleigh, you're the regional representative of ArtBridge. You're a fairly recent transplant to the area.
Yes.
How did you bring ArtBridge? How did you hear about it, and how did you bring it to Kingston?
Well, when I lived in Manhattan for many years, I got to know Rodney, who's now a friend of mine, and became familiar with his work in ArtBridge. And when I moved up here last fall, I thought it would be a great idea to bring that up here, since there's such a great asset already in the area. Artists. There are such good artists already in the area that I wanted to see if there was a way to get them some visibility and showcase the creative talent that's already here. And the bridge just seemed like a natural. It's central, it's very visible. And so I presented the idea to Rodney and the ArtBridge team, and they seemed to enjoy the idea and wanted to move forward.
Now, the bridge we're talking about is the one that crosses Broadway by the YMCA.
Exactly. The city calls it the Greenkill Avenue Bridge. It's actually two bridges, a railroad bridge and a road bridge, side by side. And it's pretty central. It's in the center of Kingston.
So what is the process in getting art on that bridge? What do artists have to do for instance, submission, and when will the art go up?
Well, currently we're accepting submissions through until December 30th. We have a website where artists can find out the guidelines and information specifications for submission. They can send their JPEGs of their work to us, and a local curation panel, which we've assembled, will review the artwork, and the selected pieces will be photographed in high resolution and then blown up and imprinted on digital mesh. And then it's planned to go up in the middle of March, right in time for the Shamrock Run and St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Ah, good. I do that run. I'll look up as I run underneath.
Be careful.
So Rodney, what kind of art are you looking at? Like you mentioned emerging artists a few moments ago. Are you talking about emerging artists here in Kingston as well?
Oh yeah, this is specifically for Kingston artists. In fact, that's one of the things that ArtBridge does, is wherever our exhibit is, we like to look at the pool of local artists. So if it's in Brooklyn, we look at Brooklyn artists. If it's in Manhattan, the same thing, whatever neighborhood we're working in. So that's really the idea, is to come up here and engage the local community of artists and give them a place to display their art.
There are artists in Kingston who've been making art here for a long time. They have sort of spearheaded this incredible art community that we have, and they're eligible to submit as well?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There are really not many limitations. I mean, we find that some of the best art, the art that works best, I think, is usually an abstract kind of art. Other art works well. Photography seems to work well. Essentially, anything that can be photographed is acceptable, because that's the medium. That's the way we get it from the studio up onto the bridge. We have to photograph it, and then that's essentially just transferred onto a vinyl and printed. So we're not really restricted that much by what can be done. I would say usually landscapes or portraits aren't as successful. But in some cases they work. So we're really looking forward to a lot of exciting entries.
Now, are you ever concerned about the arts being a distraction, for instance, to automobile traffic? I mean, if it's that compelling,
yeah,
right?
Well, maybe it'd be a good thing. But no, I haven't really been concerned about it. But I'm not going to go down that road. Hopefully it's good, people like it, and safely can drive underneath.
Now, is it going to be one artist for an extended period of time?
Yeah. So I think.
And will it be both sides of the bridge?
It's the outer side of the two bridges. The center bits that face inward are not going to be
covered.
Can't
see those,
because
right?
You can't see them, right? So it's the outer side.
And
of
the
both
same
bridges.
art on both sides?
Well, no. Art Bridge usually tries to get as much art as possible into an installation within reason. And I think in this case, there's probably room for either 1 or 2 artists per side. So maybe 4 total.
Sounds like a terrific project. Raleigh, was there any challenge in getting permission from the City of Kingston?
Mayor Gallo and the City Assembly have been wonderful, very supportive, and we're most appreciative of their support. And there have been many businesses that have stepped up and provided sponsorships, and we're similarly very appreciative.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Thanks for coming by today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're watching Kingston Now. Next, we'll introduce you to the Center for Creative Education and tell you about the good stuff going on there. Stay with us. Welcome back to Kingston Now. The Center for Creative Education in Kingston provides innovative, high-quality programs with a special emphasis on serving low-income, minority, and at-risk children. That's according to the website. With us now is Executive Director Every Man and Artistic Wellness Director Brian Andrews to tell us more about that and what else CCE does. Welcome to the show, guys.
Well, thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
to be here.
First, let me just say, Every Man is one of the greatest names I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you.
Because it just encompasses everything, right?
Yeah,
There's no expectation of who you are or what you might be. You're just every man.
Right. Everybody and nobody at once at the same time. Yeah.
were you? Was that your given name at birth?
No, and my mother still refuses to use it. But it came to me as a result of a big midlife change and a change of focus, and I wanted to shift into another gear.
Well, that's great, and I know people refer to you as Ev.
Right.
So for the rest of this show, that's what we'll do. We'll
That's
call you
fine.
Ev, okay?
That's much easier.
That change in focus was you're a professional musician. You've been on a bunch of recordings with well-known jazz musicians.
Right.
You're a percussionist, is that right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So was that the change going from that to CCE?
Well, it's actually a long story, but I kind of hit a wall in terms of my own personal ego work, and just kind of had to drop everything and start again from nothing, and reimagine things. And so I'm still doing everything I was doing before. I'm just doing it differently, or letting it do me. Maybe is a better way.
And you're also running CCE now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Tell me that little blurb I read it at the intro coming in.
Yeah.
You obviously do much more than that. Tell me about that.
Right. Well, our goal, and Drew and I share this, is we come from very different backgrounds, but for both of us, the arts were a lifeline from out of difficult circumstances into a more or less productive adult life, and so we share a commitment to passing that on to younger generation, to making sure that any kid who wants that has access to it. And so I'm a drummer, Drew's a dancer. There's a natural kind of coordination there, and a long history of dance and drum going together. So we join forces to kind of, make sure that that's available to any kid in the community who wants it. We're there to provide creative education.
So it's dance, it's music. What else happens there?
We have computer and music technology. We've done everything over the years. We have a lot of teaching artists. We do work in schools. We have a long history of working with the Kingston City School District. But dance and music are our primary focus.
Brian, the Artistic Wellness Director, that's an interesting title.
I know. It's a name that we came up with because it's what I do. It's taking art, the art of dance, and wellness, the connection between mind and body, and bringing the two together, and doing that in a way to engage the community and connect them to learn more about how to incorporate mind, body, and community as one for a healthy focus and a common goal toward education and feeling good about yourself. And the way to do that is to not only help to inspire others and engage them through dance, but to learn more about how the two, coincides with each other. It's really important to us going through these changes. We always think and feel that it starts from the inside out. So let's learn more about our mind connecting to the body and express it in dance and music.
And kids love to move anyhow, right?
Our kids are so energetic, and we all need an outlet. But I mean, we're intergenerational organization, nonprofit organization. So we work with adults, we work with youth from 3 on to, I think, one of my oldest is 83. So yeah, I mean, we work fitness programs, we work dance into all forms of connectivity in our community, and it's fun, and it's shown to really help us all, in connecting and crossing certain bridges, and just doing what we do, doing a great thing in the community.
You're located in a terrific building in Midtown Kingston.
Right.
Is that a new facility for you?
We've been there 7 years.
7 years.
We bounced around Midtown in a number of locations before finding the Gray Building, and it's been a great a place for us. It's really a beautiful facility. And you probably know we worked with the Kingston City School District on the renovation of the Carnegie Library building next to the high school. So early next year, we're going to be using those dance studios over there as well, and offering in the computer technology lab that's there. So we're going to be offering after-school extended day programs at the high school, I hope by the February, March of next year.
Tell me about the students who come to the center. Where do they come from?
Well, they come from all over. As Drew mentioned, we've partly through the wellness focus and stuff, and we've become an intergenerational center. And in my drumming group, for instance, I have grandmothers and granddaughters and mothers and fathers and kids, and we have a lot of kids right from Midtown Kingston, but then we have people coming from Rhinebeck and Hudson and Shandaken and Poughkeepsie, yeah. because of the unique offerings and the quality of the instruction that's offered there.
Yeah, I know I've brought my son to Music Together workshops in your building, which I guess you make available to other organizations. Right,
yeah, we have several compatible programs that run out of the same place. So yeah, it's an incredible family of people who show up there for classes.
And one of the highlights of what you, or I guess sort of the byproducts of what you do, is the Kingston Percussion Orchestra.
Percussion Orchestra Kingston. Yeah, I've got
there it is. PR, right, I should have just read your T-shirt.
And the Energy Dance Company.
Energy Dance Company. Yeah.
Award-winning dance ensemble. So that's a big draw for people too. The quality of the ensembles that perform all over the region.
Well, it's terrific work you guys are doing. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Appreciate it.
This is Kingston Now, and up next we're going to navigate the ever-changing waters of social media and tell you how it can help with your business with Rick Dragon of Dragon Search. Stay tuned. This is Kingston Now. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn. The world of social media is always growing, always changing. And with us now is someone with his finger on the pulse of that world. Rick Dragon is the CEO and founder of Dragon Search. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Does it matter that the world of social media is always coming out with a new delivery method, for instance? Do I need to be up on everything, or
you can't be.
Yeah.
You can't possibly be, and that's for me the wonderful challenge of social media is the fact that it's changing all the time. Now, my viewpoint is for marketing and how we use social media in marketing, and it's very important for us as marketers not to understand necessarily, the fact that we have a new social platform today, but that there's similarities between them and how we use them, and that's what we're looking for.
6 or 7 years ago, there wasn't social media.
That's right.
So how?
Although it was here,
Uh-huh.
it was just in different forms. There were certainly things like bulletin boards, for instance, and we
Right.
were being social in those spaces. But where it's really taken off, of course, is where the platforms themselves have started to build in features that make them very viral.
And from a marketing standpoint, a bulletin board might have been good for people of a particular interest group, like running in the mountains,
Right.
which is what my friends were. But from a business standpoint, the platforms today, though, seem to be much more adaptable to getting a message out. And that's
They are.
something that you've been writing about. You've got a new book out.
Yep.
Tell me about the book.
It's called Social Marketology, and at the time that the book came out, there were actually, I believe, over 6,000 books on social media. So it begs the question, why another book on social media? But what was very much lacking in the world of marketing was an approach to using social media in a process-driven manner, so that we could improve on it and do it in a step-by-step way, so that we didn't make ridiculous mistakes and make the business look like a total fool, as we've seen recently so many times.
Well, so many people rush into something because it is the trend, the hot thing to do. And I guess if you're not savvy, you may make some of those mistakes. Can you point out some of those easy mistakes to make?
Well, some of the biggest mistakes that I've seen, of course, is that a lot of people simply think, oh, social media, who in the organization is going to do it? And they look around and they go, oh, well, Abigail just got here from college and she has a Facebook page, she'd be perfect. So you're turning over your brand voice and the most viral of media to someone who really doesn't know about your business that much. So that's one of the first big mistakes. The second big mistake that I see is people just not doing it, abrogating their sort of presence in social media, which means that the competition is going to swoop in and do so, maybe even use your name. So you need to be there, you need to be listening for sure, even if you're not going to participate.
Is social media more important for smaller local businesses than it is for the giant companies? Like, for instance, I don't need to be friends with Coca-Cola on Facebook.
No,
you
you don't need to be friends with them.
Do they need me to be friends with them?
Well, I don't think Coca-Cola does. They're doing quite well without you,
Right.
possibly. But it's interesting that when you hear the chief of marketing at Coca-Cola say that Coca-Cola is setting out to double their revenue by 2020. Now, to think in terms of a Coca-Cola doubling its revenue, that's like saying France is going to double its revenue. I mean, it's a small country. It's huge, perhaps not that big. And that they're primarily going to double their revenue through social media, through the use of storytelling in social media. And the same thing is happening with P&G. Mark Pritchard of P&G says that they're going to stop being self-promotional and social and use it to create more one-on-one conversations.
So we won't see soap commercials on television?
No,
And
no.
they'll shift their emphasis to social media?
Well, they're still going to use traditional advertising. They're the smartest marketers in the world, possibly. So no, they're going to use whatever means they have to us. The difference with social media is that you don't just go in and use it the same way you do all of the other marketing platforms. It's not just another channel to go out on and advertise yourself, to be self-promotional. It's very different how you use social, but very powerful when it is used right.
Well, Dragon Search, you must see that a lot, though. You see people like, for instance, when the internet first became very popular, everyone thought they had to have a website. So they threw one up, and a lot of them weren't functional, they weren't helpful, they didn't do things. I think probably the same is true for people who are diving into social media for the first time.
Certainly, but even so, talking about that, everybody needed to have a website, and people were very reluctant to do it. They put up what we call brochureware, 5 pages. Today, it's typically understood that no, the website performs a much stronger function than that and becomes a platform to create content. And it's through content that you're going to make yourself interesting and that people then want to engage with you about, which is why blogs are so very important on the website. So we've seen this shift where websites have gone from being simple brochureware to being real platforms to share content. And when that's done, they become very powerful. Now, when you extend that into social media, the content that you're creating becomes the thing that then you can share in social and start to have conversations about.
Is the two-way aspect of social media its greatest strength?
It's critical, certainly. I mean, that's what we truly call engagement, right? And engagement means I'm just not saying, hey, buy my stuff, right? That's one way. That's me being on a soapbox. Another way is that we start to have a conversation. Oh, what do you think about this stuff? Oh, I think that's pretty good stuff. But then when we truly start engaging, we're having conversations going back and forth, we're sharing one another's things. We do a lot of what we call micro-gifting in social media, meaning I give you little gifts. I like what you just said. I retweet what you just said. Very small gifts, if you will, but thus the micro part. But they're still very important because gifting in the human psyche is so very critical. You have this thing called the rule of reciprocity. If I do something for you, your need to do something back for me is powerful.
So Dragon Search, based here in Kingston, you're now on Wall Street. Tell me about a typical client who comes to you and what you can do for them.
We have a wide range of clients. We have smaller clients, startups. We have very large international clients. Sometimes we do coaching for the internal team. We help them. We integrate social media with things like search engine optimization and paid search. Sometimes we run their entire campaign.
Terrific. Well, it's exciting work you're doing, Rick. Thanks
Thank
for doing
you.
it in Kingston.
Appreciate it, Jimmy.
That's it for this week's show. Thanks to Rodney Durso and Raleigh Green of ArtBridge. To find out more about that project, go to art-bridge.org. Thanks to Every Man and Brian Andrews of the Center for Creative Education. Find them at cce-kingston.org. And thanks to Rick Dragon of Dragon Search. They're online at dragonsearchmarketing.com, and you can find a copy of Rick's new book there as well. Remember, all of our previous shows are available on our YouTube channel, and you can find that link on our Facebook page. For Kingston Now, I'm Jimmy Buff. See you next time.